Africa kicks off its 2019 Rugby World Cup campaign against New Zealand. Those are the All Blacks on Saturday. The country is pinning its hopes on the Boks squad. Well, to look ahead and discuss this moment, we're joined now via Skype by the captain of the 1995 Rugby World Cup-winning squad, Francois Pienaar. Captain, good morning, and thank you very much for your time. As we build up to this weekend, what's on your mind?
Oh, it's very exciting. Everybody's talking rugby. Obviously, a massive game against the All Blacks on the weekend. But there's a couple of very nice matchups. If you look at France against Argentina, I think that's going to be mouth-watering. And then Ireland take on Scotland. Those are the three games for me that stand out on this weekend. But there's this atmosphere of the rugby fever that's hit and gripped Cape Town, where I'm at. And obviously, because I've played in the World Cups, everybody wants to have a chat and find out what I think.
What does it take to win a Rugby World Cup?
Then, I try and steer away from emotion. So I look at 4 or 5 indices and measure the teams against that. The first and most important one is that there needs to be a culture of winning within the side. And normally, that culture of winning comes from a group of players that play together regularly and have won going into the World Cup. Now, if you look at every World Cup winning side from 1987, the core of that team came from a provincial side that was successful. For instance, in 2007, you will recall that both the Bulls and the Sharks played in the Super Rugby final, which was then won by the Bulls. So the majority of those players knew how to win. They've beaten all the other teams in the Super Rugby, and they went into that World Cup. When England won it in 2003, the main frame of the team came from Leicester, and Leicester were champions of Europe and champions of England. And I can go on and on. In the last 2 years, it's been the Crusaders that have dominated Super Rugby, and the All Blacks have won it twice. So you've got to look for a culture of winning in that squad and makeup, and winning must be something that these players are used to. It's not something that's foreign to them. Otherwise, very difficult to go and win. The second thing would be the spine of the team, the players that touch the ball more than any other player and can influence the outcome of the game. And here you look at the hooker, A-lock, 8, 9, 10, 12, and 15. And they need to be world-class players. They need to be players that are on top of their game and they can influence the outcome of the game. Because rugby is about relieving pressure effectively and staying unpredictable on attack. And we've got some really nice players in all those positions. The third thing would be leadership. How do you actually, when it comes to the 19th of October, because that's when it really, really matters, the knockout stages of the Rugby World Cup, one team is flying home the next day and another team stays on to try and win the most incredible trophy. So leadership and how do you calm a team down? How do you make sure that when you're ahead, close the game down? Or when you're behind, what are you going to do in order to win that match is vitally important. Managing the variable, the referee, vitally important. I mean, that is crucial to this World Cup. And then you have to have a strong pack. Every World Cup winning side that won the World Cup dominated with their pack. And there I'm really positive about our chances. So you need a bit of luck too. And normally when you come into a World Cup with momentum, you're on a winning streak, the players are enjoying each other's company, then luck comes your way in a strange fashion. So those are the 5 indices that I look at. And there's a number of teams that actually are knocking on the door to win this World Cup. New Zealand, England, South Africa, Wales, Ireland have come back a little bit later on. Argentina, for the first time, their team went to the Super Rugby final. And they've got a group of players that really gel well together. So certain teams can upset the other on the day. And that's why probably this World Cup is the most open of World Cups.
Our chances as a Springboks, Francois?
Very good. If I go through those 5, we've just started getting some nice momentum going into the World Cup. Some great victories. You can see the team is a happy team. There's energy on the side. And really great first half against New Zealand in New Zealand for that draw against them. So nice positive energy going into it. We've got great players in the positions. I would like to see how 9, 10, and 12 is going to cement and what Russia's going to do in those positions. Because every World Cup winning side has had a fly-off at inside centre. And what are we going to do here? England, funny enough, is now picking Owen Farrell at 12 with Ford at 10. That's going to be a combination that I'll closely watch. So we definitely have got a very good chance to win this World Cup. But it's going to depend on how we handle pressure and also how do we execute our game plan come match day.
That's very important. Off the field, we know the impact that team sports can have on the psyche of the nation. Especially we South Africans, we don't like losing, we like winning. How important do you think it will be for the country, for the Springboks, to really do well in this tournament?
Dan, we love winning. We absolutely love winning in this country. And we can be the hardest critics if we don't, because our passion for our team and to win stuff is just enormous. Sport is such a powerful tool for change. 24 years later, since winning the World Cup in 1995, we are still reminded about that event. We went and said goodbye to Chester, sadly, on the weekend at Newlands. And there were thousands of people that came out to pay their respects to Chester and the family. And some of the 95 guys that could make it came to the funeral. It was just such... we were so just blessed to hear the comments of the people about that victory in South Africa in 95. And whenever I spend time with John Smith too, that the winning in 2007 is spoken about. So if we can pull this one off, it will be a fantastic injection of hope and spirit in South Africa, which we need at this very sad point in time in our history.
Yeah, we're going through tough times, and sadly the public broadcaster, which is a huge footprint, apparently might not be able to show South Africans the Springbok games in this World Cup. What do you think?
Yeah, that's sad, because you want everybody to be able to support the Springboks. This past weekend we had the Cape Town Marathon, and I sat next to an advocate who ran it, reading a book, because he's trying to raise money and get people to donate books so people can read books in the impoverished areas. And he told me that he was in Mamelodi, and he didn't have a television set. But when the drop goal of Joel's went through, Mamelodi erupted. He said people spilled out onto the streets. They all celebrated because they became part of a World Cup-winning side. And through that, he started following the Blue Bulls. He went to Loftus, and they said they always wanted to watch Joost play, and they called him the taxi, because Joost used to weave between all the players and score tries. And that's what rugby did in 1995, and that's what sport does for our nation. When Bafana did well in '96, when one of our sports people go out there and win on the international stage, it makes us all just so proud. It's a very powerful tool to unite people. I can't think there's anything else that can unite a country like their team going on to win a World Cup, like we saw again in France this year, when in the past when they won the Football World Cup.
Hopefully the SABC will sort out its problems and show some of those games. Finally, Francois, and very briefly, Captain, before you let go, if Siya Kolisi called you now and said, captain to captain, what advice would you give him ahead of the Saturday game against the mighty All Blacks?
Execute. They would have worked very hard on what they want to achieve against the All Blacks. They know each other, and it's about executing your game plan, making sure that the execution is spot on. Also enjoy the occasion. Do not let the occasion get too big, because if you really approach it with that this is going to be an incredible opportunity to do something unusual, yes, there's going to be tension, but there must also be a smile on your face. So really get the blue head, so that we calm and collected go into the game, and the fire in the belly taking on the All Blacks. It's going to be a humdinger of a match. I can't wait.
Francois Pienaar, as always, a pleasure talking to you, and really appreciate you sharing some of the insights ahead of this Rugby World Cup that kicks off on Friday. Take care. That was the captain of the Rugby World Cup winning side in 1995. He still got a lovely energy with him. Angie?
Yes.
You were sitting here listening to that.
And smiling.
Ahead of the sports and smiling.
Yes.
Yeah?
I got goosebumps when he spoke about Mamelodi erupting when Joel Stransky, clocked that drop goal. And of course, he's made me quite nervous, though, talking about it, because it's here. It's here.
And let's